Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel for another episode of the Summer Series. My name is Ben Reeve, my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Paul James. Welcome, Paul.
It's good to be back. It's been, I guess, peeking behind the curtain. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done this. When we had Phoenix on, and when I kind of lobbed in halfway through a session that the two of you were doing.
You had all that, yep. So it has been a little bit of time, and it's a hot day, so it does feel like a Summer Series type of episode today. We are recording this on the 11th of February, so hopefully get this episode out later tonight. Maybe do a back-to-back one, and we'll get the next one scheduled, ready to go for the following week. Something like that. So, look, let's get into it, Paul. This episode's going to be about, generally around the tribunal system, the match review panel, AFL suspensions, punishments, all that sort of finger waving stuff. So let's get into the very first question. Has the suspension of AFL players, now when I say AFL, AFLW, AFL men, whatever, has it gone too far? Are we whacking these players too hard for things that happened, maybe were happening 20 years ago, that you get nothing for? You might get weeks for punching a bloke or whatever, but it seems like you're missing 2 weeks for sniffing in someone's direction at the moment. What's going on? Where do you stand with the level of punishment that players get?
It's a tricky one because, the most contentious stuff for most people is the hip and shoulder and the tackles, and they're the ones that players are mostly getting rubbed out for these days, and all of that is based around the head trauma part, which I think if we kind of criticize them about, then we're kind of being a little bit dismissive to what is clearly an enormous issue worldwide at the moment. So I think, it's a really, really difficult one. I think they need to start kind of exploring the intention more rather than the consequence. Probably there's a balance between those things, and trying to strike that balance is unbelievably hard. The other stuff beyond that, I'm not finding there to be too many issues. Like if someone punches a bloke, someone deserves a couple weeks. We're not getting, Hawke hasn't been making a habit of creating ways to get suspended in recent years from some of his old umpire contact and those sort of things that he'd gotten up to. And first player to ever get suspended for a jumper punch. So I don't know. I feel like those other aspects are mostly pretty good. Obviously, we've got the new rule that's come into play off the back of the Braden Maynard attempted spoil.
That's right.
That is now going to see players who repeat that probably get rubbed out. I think that's going to be a really, really hard one for the AFL to get right. Because again, it was a clear, it's not like a tackle which you go into knowing that there's, even if you perform it legally, you know that there's a possibility the player's head could hit the ground. You hip and shoulder, there's a possibility your shoulder is going to come in contact with their head. When you're jumping with sole intent not to actually even make contact with the player, but to make contact with the ball, and then you incidentally hit the person.
Yeah.
That's a really hard one. Like I love when things go wrong for Collingwood, but I was really happy for the game, honestly, as much as, you don't want to see an injury, and especially to a Brayshaw, Brayshaw who's got, repeated concussion problems. I was kind of happy that Maynard got off because he was in the air going for the ball, and sure, there's the commentary around, well, what does he do as he's falling? But like, people lose sight of just how little time you've got when you're up in the air, and it's the first time an incident like that's happened. And he wasn't going up to hurt the bloke; he was going up to get the ball, and then ended up hurting the bloke. It's a really tricky one, and hopefully we don't see too many cases of it. That was a first for a reason. And hopefully it's the one and only. But, there's a chance that could happen again, and I don't want to see anyone rubbed out for it.
Yeah, it's. I think you sort of talked
assuming the priority is the ball. I guess, sorry, that's the one thing.
Yeah.
Like, if the priority is the ball and not the player.
Yes.
Which, if the priority is the player, then you're not jumping like that in the first place. You're lining him up with a hip and shoulder, which means you're in trouble for something else altogether.
What if you're trying to, the priority is the ball, but you're trying to tackle the bloke with the ball rather than...
But then you're not jumping like that. You're not jumping high, trying to spoil the ball. and
I
then
guess where
trying
I'm
to
coming
tackle them.
from,
Like it doesn't, because you wouldn't, because legally you're not allowed to tackle them at that point. They don't have possession of the ball, so it'd be holding the man
I think it's the
and
incident.
downfield in that instance too. As a result,
Yeah, I think it's the incidental stuff that it's not. I mean, clearly, it's very rarely you see someone with absolute intent. I'm going to put this bloke into next week. You don't really see that. More often than not, it is those accidental, careless. I went in really hard because that's what I've been trained to do since I was a kid. I was trying to protect myself. That's where you see a lot of these ones, and I guess probably what I worry more for, and I think maybe the AFLW should maybe have a look at the heaviness of their penalties, because I mean maybe a week or two for certain instances in the men's comp, whatever. It's 10% of the season, but Jesus Christ, for the women's comp, it's half your season's nearly gone if you get rubbed out for a week or two. It's well, I'm exaggerating, but it's a hell of a lot of a
no, but it's,
punishment.
they're about 10 rounds, right? So like
Exactly. So I just think
a week's
maybe
10% of your season straight away.
we're punishing the same the way we punish men when if you think of it in the terms of a season, it seems a bit too harsh.
So is it a simple case of when it comes to the women game, it just needs to be proportionate?
I think so. Yeah, I think maybe half
The men's season is roughly double the length. So
correct. Yep, you're punishing the team for 20% of the year. Sometimes if you give someone 2 weeks, it's just insane. So that's what I think needs to change anyway. But what else would you change? Would you change anything else with the tribunal system? Do you or the match review panel? Do you like the fact that it seems to take 3 bloody weeks for them to decide whether it's going to the tribunal? Like, what is there something about the system that you like? Is there something that you think's just terrible? And we need to change this. Why aren't they changing this?
yeah, there's the MRO into the tribunal part that's kind of a bit messy. And the way they kind of can undermine each other. Like you get Chris O, who will give the bloke 3 weeks based on their rubric, only for legal teams to get involved in the tribunal hearing, and suddenly the person gets nothing. Like that's a problem. I think that's a real problem optically for the AFL, but optically for the MRO as well, and all the rules they're trying to put. Like it shows that it's not airtight, and they need to fix that.
Yeah, I'd like to see them come up with the decision later that night, or if it's first thing in the morning, if it's a night game, what's happened. Surely you can at least decide whether a bloke's getting a suspension based on the matrix or the rubric or whatever it is. You can make it. You can look at that and apply the points. The commentators are doing it almost on the spot, so I don't know why it takes the AFL so much longer to do it. Then the clubs have got a little bit more time. There's something to talk about. What about residual points, though, Now, for those people that maybe aren't across what residual points are. So a player's gets, I could be factually wrong here. We don't fact check too much, but let's say you get 210, 211 points, and you cop I think it's 100 points to cop a week. Is that right, Paul? And you've got 11. So you've copped 2 weeks. You've got 11 points hanging over you. What do you think about that? Is that overcomplicating things? Is that just round it down, whatever, or round it up? Where do you sit with that?
I mean, I don't like it. I think it's a case of treat each incident on its merits. I get where it comes from, but I think that's just a level of complexity that's not necessary, considering they can't get the other aspects of things right at the moment. I wouldn't want something that would ordinarily get a fine and nothing more be suddenly the reason why someone gets suspended for a grand final or something, or just a key final, because there was residual points just hanging over them. Like that'd be absolutely insane. Like there would be riots.
Oh, you're coming
especially if it was Collingwood, because they're toothless masses will come charging down the road to the AFL house. But I just that doesn't sit well with me, a scenario like that either. Ignoring the Collingwood aspect, it just doesn't sit properly with me. So
I think you don't want to be in a prelim and with coming in with 90 points next to your name, and then you've come in for a little. You come to fly the flag a little bit in the melee, and next minute, you're missing the grand final because you've copped a couple of points or something like that. It's ridiculous. I definitely don't think you round up. I think rounding up is a bit silly. It was a bit of a throwaway one there. I don't know. I just think you round it down a little bit. If it's 210, just whatever. It's ticked over. We start again, mate. I just don't like overcomplicating things. I try
Exactly.
to. I like my footy. I don't know if I'm a simple guy.
Keep it
Maybe
simple,
I am.
stupid.
Maybe I am a simple guy, but I'm like, do you really need to overcomplicate? Yes, it creates chatter and talk, and we get up in arms, we fire up, and maybe that's what the AFL wants, us to be talking about the game and debating it and all that sort of stuff. I don't know. It just seems overly complicated to me. All right. What about loading? Should you cop a higher points penalty, if we're staying on the points for a little bit longer, if you've got a bit of a history of being a naughty boy and catch that fly, for those that are listening on the
mosquito, little fuckers
Mosquito.
hanging around. Oh,
I tell you
sorry.
what, a little side note before you jump into that. I was at the pool today with the kids and we were getting chased by a wasp. And the kids ran away and I was like, oh, better grab the chips before the seagulls get to them. And then the next minute, the seagulls jumped up and eaten the wasp. I'm like, I've never seen that before.
I need a seagull in.
The seagull ate the wasp. There you go. There's one. There's a new one for you. Continue on, Paul. Sorry. The question again was, is loading appropriate for previously suspended AFL players?
What was the loading?
So the loading is if you're a little bit naughty, you get a little bit more points added to your suspension for the next time around. Here he goes. This is. I'm going to clip this part of the video, Paul. This has to go up on the socials, I'd say.
Oh, mate, can we be done with summer? We've barely had a summer, but can we be done with it?
Bring on the footy season.
And yeah, also get us to footy season now. So that baggage, like say a Toby Green has, for example.
Yeah, exactly. He wouldn't want
again.
to. Again,
I'm kind of pro keep each incident on its merits. So
I'm agreeing.
No, I don't want that. And I guess using Toby as an example, like he's put a very conscious effort into cleaning up his game and some of the dumb things that he's done. And that baggage is still going to be sitting there should he, find himself in tribunal trouble, despite everything. Now, if he does some really horribly malicious act, sure, he'll still deserve it. But no, I don't feel like it needs to be there. Again, it's just overcomplicating it. Let's keep it simple.
Do you think the AFL should have this isn't a question on the list, but it's related, but for serial offenders, and I'm going to draw a parallel to basketball again, NBA, because we always do that on this show. But Draymond Green from the Golden State Warriors has the big dog at the top of the NBA said, "No, I had enough. You're out of control, sunshine. You are absolutely out of control. You can have some time off." And there was no point system. There was no, it's worth this, it's worth that. It's like, no. We're not even going to put a date on it. You just disappear for a bit and come back. Should the AFL, what's his name these days? Not Gill anymore, the new guy. Should the new guy have a say in penalties for the Toby Green types of players? Shouldn't plot it on Toby.
No. Again, I think there's processes. Let's keep it clean.
Keep it separate.
But I guess they always need to leave it a pool if things do get out of control. If you do have a Draymond Green style scenario or a Barry Hall or whatever the case happens to be, Cam Mooney, when he was in his particularly wild days.
Didn't do anything wrong, Paul. Cam Mooney was a saint.
When he was kind of a wild child, maybe you have like a leave it a pool, but even Cam wasn't that bad. Half his punches missed. So I don't know.
All right.
Maybe they have something unwritten on the side, but then I guess we wouldn't be discussing it.
A little bit of fine print, maybe.
The boss pull rank whenever the boss wants to pull rank.
Here's an easier one because we'll bring it back to Tom Stewart. Poor old Tom Stewart. He's never going to live this down. All right. So Tom Stewart, he absolutely cleaned up.
People make mistakes like this at Geelong.
No, well, he's cleaned up the human meatball. Cats versus Richmond. He's lined him up again. The last time it happened, though, they were asking him to bring. They want to bring in a send-off rule. Should the AFL consider the send-off? Now, I think technically it's in the rules that they can send a player off. Well, I believe that's actually accurate. They just never do. So,
and I think I think if you were to do that, it's probably for deliberate non-football acts. If you're you're doing an Alistair Lynch and flailing around like a madman.
You run out on the
why they
middle of the
didn't do
ground with
that
a
then.
gun in your pocket or something. I don't know, something stupid.
Well, yeah.
I don't imagine that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to be in a hurry to tell you to get off either.
No.
But no,
I did
something
see
silly, as you said. Yeah.
I did see something today or yesterday that a soccer league somewhere is introducing a blue card, and it's like a temporary send off. It's like
okay.
It's the old sin bin model. Like it's 10 minutes.
Nice.
Now I'm wondering if that's not an option, because let's use the Tom Stewart one as the example. He's clearly laid this bump and injured the bloke.
Yes.
But we don't know about what, like, you don't 100% know in the moment what has happened. Like, or I guess the severity, the intent, that sort of thing. If you, not that we would have liked it as Cats fans, but if you go, okay, Tom Stewart, you got 10 minutes while we go and suss this out, and then can render a judgment, then that's maybe the way you can have a send-off rule, because I don't want a scenario where an umpire, and we know that they can get a bit carried away from time to time. There's always one or two that just quick on the whistle there to just wave a card around and say, that's it, you're off, you're done, your day is over, and have it wrong. Because maybe it was a legitimate tackle and unfortunately the player's head hit the ground or something like that. And you go, that's it, boom, you've taken this guy out of the game, so we're going to take you out of the game too, for what was a properly, purely intentioned act that just ended badly for some reason.
Imagine
but if you say you're off for 10 minutes and then you've got your someone in the arc that looks at that footage and goes, well, actually, like, sure, there was an injury here, but it wasn't intentional. Get him back on.
Player review, is that what they?
No. So like, send him off. Like, given the blue card model, you're off the ground. You got 10 minutes. That gives us the time to do all the research we need to do.
Yep.
And I say up to 10 minutes, because maybe, like, if the person in the arc looks at that within a minute, goes, nothing to see here,
right back
on you go again.
Maybe the
next goal or something like that. Next goal,
what are you doing, mate?
Or what,
they've been off the ground 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and they've kicked 3 goals. What are you doing? I can see how that goes pear-shaped.
I could see a degree of fairness in that. Like, there's some equity in it. That player's been taken out. You can lose 5 minutes to allow the officials to check it out. If it was if it turns out the guy was knocked out because you punched him in the head, that's it. Your day's over, champ. But if it was, if you line him up with a hip and shoulder from a mile out, like, and I mean way worse than the Tom Stewart thing, you line him up with a hip and shoulder, clear, there was never any intent to do anything other than harm, that's it. Your day's over, champ. But if it was a football act that just went wrong, okay, look, back out there.
And while you're sitting on that interchange bench, the camera's just on you, like zoomed right in. There we go. Cool. Camera is just on you the whole time, Paul, while this is all happening. And you're sitting there just like, oh shit, am I going to be done for the day? Am I copping weeks for this? And the next minute you get the tap on the shoulder from the emergency ump. He says, on you go, back on the ground. It's like, oh sweet, beautiful.
Well, you run past the umpire. Helps with a lot of the MRO stuff from before. Like, there's I don't know, there's pros and cons.
Now, what happens if Tom Stewart does get suspended? We're going to stay with Tom. Sorry, Tom, if you're watching. I'm sure you're not, but if you are, sorry. Tom gets suspended. He's very contrite. I'm so sorry. I will happily accept the penalty. Should he receive a reduction if he goes in there? Any player, really. Like, should players go in if they say, look, I did it? Or shouldn't it matter at all? So, like, no, you punched the bloke, you're getting 4 weeks. Or it's like, I punched him, but I'm so sorry. Oh, no worries. Oh, you sound like you're a good bloke. 3 weeks. What do you reckon?
I mean, let's be real. It's not even for that. It's more like
that. He wouldn't. His
the AFL's perspective is more, you've accepted it. Great. That saves us some time and hassle. Thanks, champ. You can get a little bit of extra time. Like, you can save on your penalty. That's where it is. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But should there be the deduction for?
Sorry, I didn't mean to do it, or I did mean to do it, but I feel so bad now.
I mean, look, I in this day and age where these tribunal cases are being made into legal things, then the answer is yes. Because is that not a factor in the actual normal legal system?
Seems to be. Yep.
If that's a thing, and I don't really know because I can't say that I've had to attend court or anything like that in the past. But if that's how that system works, then since we seem to be embracing a similar model, much to the AFL's displeasure, but that's the model we're in, then it should probably be the same. So, yeah.
All right. Oh, I don't completely disagree with you. All right, let's stay with Tom Stewart again. Now, Tom... Oh, Jesus. Tom, poor old Tom. But Tom He's going to the tribunal on, was it Monday night, Tuesday night, whatever it is. They're selling tickets like hotcakes. They are now doing live coverage of hearings, and the fans get to file in. There's a limited number of tickets. Do you want to watch it on TV? Do you want to be able to attend the tribunal hearing, Paul? Is this good for footy if we can watch Tom Stewart, sitting there going, yeah, sorry about that, I didn't mean to do it, or no, hang on, I got him at this point. It was get the biochemist in and all that. Is that something that's good for the game, or better to keep it out of the public's eye?
Under no circumstance do I want people attending.
I'll go on my cat's gear. I'm going to turn up with the beanie on. I'll have the big thing. I'll be waving that around.
Yeah, and I can hear you like when he makes it. Yes, Tom. Yes, Tom. Get her. Like, yeah, you'll be waving fists and all. Like, I get it. No, I don't want that at all. But
Order.
like, stream it out, televise it. Yeah, no problems. Whatever.
Yep.
it's a court case. Think of it as
Maybe
Judge
they can
Judy.
put up a glass petition or something, and we can hide behind the glass and we can scream and yell and
one-sided glass. Think of it as just a Judge Judy episode, people. Go and watch that. It'll be Judge Judy. Just watch the tribunal here.
Yeah. If it was on telly, as long as they don't go for 2 hours or something like that, it'd be ridiculous.
Of course, some of them do though, but that's where you're not going to see that on Channel 7. You're going to see that on Foxtel, and they'll lap it up.
They will.
Or watch it live on afl.com.au.
Well, there you go. Or give us exclusive.
I felt like I was plugging something there. It doesn't exist.
You did. I was going to say we should get access. We should negotiate access for the channel, something like that for all Geelong.
Yeah, I think we've just heard it.
Now, when Tom Stewart lines a meatball up in a prelim, should the AFL, should the umpires just turn a blind eye to something like that, just so Tommy can play in the grand?
And you
final?
said a prelim. Do you mean grand finals?
A prelim, no. So he's cleaned him up in the prelim. Should they turn a blind? The question is grand finals. We'll go with the question then. So Tommy Stewart lines up meatball in the grand final. Are they going to pretend like that never happened, or are they going to say, "No, mate, we told you it's double the penalty in grand finals"? I do recall an incident with Sam Mitchell, scumbag. No, he's not a scumbag. He's recovering at the moment, I think. But he did clean up Gary Ablett Jr. in a grand final and didn't get anything for it. Apparently, it never happened. Nearly took his head off. But anyway. But just does the AFL ignore that? They say they're going to give you twice the penalty, but I'm telling you, they don't. They don't give anyone anything in grand finals.
No, I'm all for the double penalty thing, but you're right. They seem to kind of turn a blind eye to things. Things just get lost in the fact that the spectacle of the game and all that sort of thing. But I like the rule that it is double. The execution is a whole other thing because, they do seem to just ignore stuff. But also, I mean, I can't really think of too many horrible incidents in recent years anyway. Have there really been any suspendable actions? I can't think of any.
To be Alistair Lynch.
But that goes back to 2004 then. We're talking 20 years ago this year.
20 years. That makes us feel old. That's probably where it started from, really. And I think everyone's just pulled their head in a little bit. You occasionally see a little bit of rough stuff, but most of the time they just ignore it. That's what I say anyway. All right, a couple more to go. I think there might be 2 to go.
Yeah, 2 to go.
2 questions to go. All right, should clubs get a warning for zone infringement? So the 666 rule. You watch it on the telly. Umpire stops play, talks to both the ruckmans, says, blah blah blah. Warning Geelong. Tom Stewart's sorry, poor old Tom. He's copping it tonight. Poor old Tom Stewart snuck out. He's out of his area. What are you doing, Tom? Focus on the game. Should there be warnings, or it's like, no, sorry, free kick, whoever we're playing, and off they go. I'm free kicking it. I'm like, no.
I think just jump straight to it. I'm sick of the warning bullshit. I'm kind of over the warnings.
Just get on with it. With that and bouncing the ball wrong half the time, it's like, can we just get on with the game, please? Can you just either pay a free kick or whatever,
or not? It's a shit or get off the pot moment.
Maybe just let it go. A bit like the time clock in tennis when they're trying to serve it, and it's like he's gone a second. Oh, they just ignored that. Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
Maybe just let some things go. Maybe just pull them up if they're way out, but maybe for the most part, just let it go. That's probably the easy one there. Not too much to say on that one.
Frozen, let it go.
Exactly. Now, is this the same question? Should umpires, I should say, swallow the whistle in big games? So do they swallow the whistle? I think
they absolutely do.
Should they just let the players go hammer and tongs at each other and let them sort it out?
No, I would want consistency across the board. But do they swallow the whistle? Yes. And I get that they do because there's a lot of stress and anxiety around that. Like any call you make, especially if it's one that is going to penalize a player or a team, is enormous. And if it turns out you're wrong, that's an enormous price for that umpire or whatever official to pay. So I get why they put the whistle away. I hate that they do, but I get why, and it's just a pure psychological thing.
I bet there's no memo that goes out during the week saying, so we want to interpret
put it away, boys. Put it away.
We want to reinterpret this rule this week, and we want all the umpires to reinterpret the hands in the back thing. All of a sudden, everyone's like, what the hell is going on here? And you see it across all 9 games. You don't tend to see that in the final series. It's like, we're not worrying about the Tiggy Touchwood stuff. We're not worrying about trying to reinterpret things or bring the game back into alignment somehow. They just kind of let it go and they call the obvious stuff, which is why we love finals so much. It's great. Well, that's another episode in the can. Thank you very much for that.
No problem at all,
guys. We'll do another one of these. So yeah, but I think we've got the Chaps Chat Cats on Monday night on the Hoops Crew Media Network. So check that. That should be dropping late-ish, maybe 9 or 10 or something like that on Monday night. So make sure you check that one out. We've got a whole bunch of these summer series episodes as well. I think this was number 10. So if you haven't caught up on some of these episodes, we've got one to go. There's a whole lot in the bank there. Still a few more weeks before the first game of the AFL season. We are pretty keen. Well, I'm getting very, very keen, Paul, on the match sim against Carlton coming up soon. And we're going to have a bit of a live show where I'll have a chat with some fans live after the game. Now, we'll be very late after the game because the game starts at 11 o'clock in the morning for some reason. So it'll be like a 7:30 live show on Thursday, the 22nd, I think it is.
Where's the match in Icon Park? No,
it's in Icon Park, I believe. I don't know who's going to be able to get to the game, and I don't know how you're going to be able to watch it. I'll probably have a sneaky. My camera, my phone will be on my desk somewhere, just kind of with the earbuds in, just listening.
Oh wait, that's right. It's a weekday.
Yeah, you might be teaching the kids, Paul. So that might be a little tricky to keep one on the footy. We might have to watch the replay after work or something like that. So.
Oh, no, I'll get away with that. But anyway. Less said about that, the better.
Exactly. Thanks, everyone. Catch you on the next one. Go Cats. See ya.